CWorks. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yes, I can hear you. How old are you? No, no, no problem. I'll try to remember Connor. All right, man. Give me 2 seconds. I'll bring you in. All right, bro. Abortion should be illegal. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Okay, so what would your argument be then for your position?
Yeah, two simple premises. I'm a human that has a right to life. I used to be a fetus. Conclusion: a fetus has a right to life.
Okay, so I'm going to argue then that your second premise that you were once a fetus
Hmm.
isn't necessarily true from it's more of a theory of mind, I guess, perspective, is that you're a Christian, right? So then wouldn't you also believe that there's like souls and minds and stuff like that?
Well, I think everybody believes that there's minds,
hmm
but
But do
yeah,
you
I'd,
think
I'd
that,
say there's a soul, but I don't really use my Christianity for this argument. But we can go into it if you want to.
okay, making I'm just making the point that like basically I think a lot of pro-lifers kind of point to like our lives start whenever a human organism is created, and I'm going to say that that's not necessarily true, and that it would start around 20 weeks and it's related to the brain. And I saw the other people, but my question would be, do you think that how many if you see a conjoined twin, how many people do you see?
If I say a conjoined twin, I would see two persons.
Okay, so the thing is that if a human life would begin when we are organisms, a conjoined twin scientifically is one organism but two persons.
Yeah, I don't have see any contradiction with that.
Well, I'm just saying that if they're two persons, we're pointing to the fact that I think most people would assume that they have two brains, so then they're two people.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they
So
still,
just can you give me the definition of person?
I would say I would say I would have to do with consciousness or rationality and employing that.
Well, something to do is not a definition, right? So like my definition is an individual member of a rational kind, and
Mhm.
so we wouldn't have an issue here because you'd have a single entity, but you'd have two members.
Okay, so what do you mean by then like a rational kind?
So it's just basically part of the genome that can ration, right? So humans are species that can ration. They are part of that human species. So therefore, they be a member of the species that is a rational kind.
Okay, so like pretty much a species grows and develops and they respond to reasons and stuff like that, so that whole group is protected in your view?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So like a species grows and develops and they can get abilities to reason and you protect that whole group then or
No, what I'm saying is that we have this member that is part of a rational kind. This is how we define personhood, and the reason that this specific person would have value is because they have a potential future like ours. So
okay, they
there's certain distinctions, right? Um, obviously, like a tumor could be considered a person based off the being a member of a rational kind because it'd be distinct, it'd be human, and yeah, so it'd be a member of a rational kind. But I wouldn't necessarily give it the same value because it doesn't have a potential future like ours.
okay, would at conception does that necessarily entail that there will be a rational experience in the future?
No,
So then how would they be part of that rational kind in your view?
because they're still a member of a rational kind.
Because for example, there is conditions at conception like hadatiform moles where at conception the there's errors that form into things as you said like cancer. So if it's not necessarily true then that at conception there is potential, why would we protect
There is
that thing?
potential. The
Well,
potential doesn't have to be actualized, and this is the same thing that we got in the conversation with the last guy, is that he was confusing the fact that potential means it necessitates actualization. That's not the case. You can have potentials that are not actualized.
okay, so here just to clear it up then. You're saying that at conception it does have the potential to become the thing like the hadatiform mole, but also it has the potential to
What is a
grow and develop.
hadatiform mole?
It's like a condition where pretty much like it's kind of hard to explain where the sperm has too many chromosomes in it and it merges with the ovum and it forms like it. turns into like a cancer pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fetus becoming that then. This is before the conception, right? Like we don't actually have the individual person being created. Instead, the individual person's not created and a cancer is made.
Well, pretty much the sperm and ovum meet, right?
Hmm.
And they form into this other thing. Here, you can look it
Yeah,
up if
yeah,
you
but it
want.
doesn't become a zygote, right?
No, it doesn't become a
Yeah.
zygote. I'm actually not too sure, but I don't think it does.
Yeah, so I wouldn't classify that as an individual member of a rational kind
Mm.
because I mean, technically you could make the argument that certain cancers, certain tumors, would be members of rational kinds, but I think they don't have the value because they don't have a potential future like ours. I think this is what gives
Mm.
all humans value is our potential future.
Your potential future.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, is that so? Let's say hypothetically there was a case where one one member of um, let's say like a pig just got up one day and it could reason like we're having right now, would you
Hmm.
protect that pig or would you protect the entire species of pig?
So it wouldn't be a member of a rational kind, right? So it individually would have the ability to rationalize, and I wouldn't give it the same rights as a human. This would be a different category, and I think we'd have to play with that and wrestle with that and determine what category it is. But that whole species is not a member of a rational kind. Their kind isn't rational. We have just this individual that is rationalizing.
Okay, so would you say though then that if whatever you would I guess call the pig that somehow is talking to us or whatever, but would you say that that pig, if someone killed it, then that would be murder or ethical or
I don't know.
okay?
It's a good question.
Because, like as I said, if your second premise is that I was once a fetus and it's this rational kind, I think that you would have to protect the pig, or it could fall into that category of rational kind. I think.
Yeah, I think we most likely would protect the pig because it's rationalizing. I think this is something that we'd hold to a high value, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's well, I guess that individual pig would be a member of a rational kind, yeah, because he is a rational kind, he's a member of himself. But yeah, the whole species wouldn't be members of a rational kind.
Okay, so I wanted to trace back to what I was saying about the twins, if that's all right.
Hmm.
So with the twins, do you know what craniosphagus parasiticus is? I know
No,
that's a big word, but
no,
so
I
pretty
couldn't say
much,
that if you paid me.
oh, no, but pretty much it is a condition where people in, well, the fetus in utero
Hmm.
forms a congenital abnormality where they have another skull that forms on the back of their head.
Hmm.
And so this kind of gets back to what I was saying about if we're going off of this bodily unity, then
Well, I don't go off
like
bodily unity.
okay, so what would you say? Like you said the rational kind, but like are you going off of organism or are you going off of like what is the identity over time, I guess?
So I just real quick, on Wobbly came in with 140 ZAR. I don't know what ZAR is.
It says, well, your top thing says $783.
$73?
No, $7.83.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
What is a czar?
Thank you, Czar. Or not, your name's not Czar, but thank you nonetheless. Sorry, bro, go ahead.
Pretty much I'm asking like what would the identity of a person be over time? You said about the rational kind, but I'm just trying to figure out like am I an organism? Am I like are you going to fall under the Christian mind body spirit or like are you going to fall under like what would you say?
I still don't understand the question.
Okay, my bad. So whenever you're talking about I was once a fetus,
Hmm.
are you saying that you were once a fetus because a fetus is an organism, like a member of the Homo sapiens? Are you saying that because you had the brain of the fetus and it grew? Like, what are you
I'm saying
saying that you're?
I saying I used to be a fetus because all the genetic makeup that makes up me is the same genetic makeup that was me when I was in the womb. Now, obviously, there's some development, but it's the same genetic makeup, same genetic code. And I have been distinctly a member of a rational kind, despite what my consciousness is. I wasn't conscious in the womb. I'm not conscious when I'm asleep. I wasn't conscious when I had ALC surgery, but yet I was still a person and I was still had the right to life.
Okay, that makes more sense. So my question would be is like, have you seen Avatar or The Matrix, like Avatar with the blue people
Yep.
or whatever? So would you say that um, if the person is in the Avatar or the person is in the Matrix, is that them then?
Yeah, so now we're just kind of getting into the law of identity, right? And this is we're gonna go down a long loophole. Like if I remove one finger, am I still me? If I lose a past conscious experience, am I still me? If I change location, still place, am I a me? And this is going to be like a conversation that's going to go on for hours until we conclude what is identity. What I can conclude is that the reason I don't unalive you is because you have a potential future, like I have a potential future. That's the reason I don't unalive anybody, or why it's wrong to unalive anybody, not why I don't, but why it's wrong in general. But the problem is the fetus also has that potential future, so it'd be wrong to unalive the fetus as well. And we say the fetus is not a sperm because you can make the argument that the fetus is just a that we shouldn't unalive sperm because it also has the potential future. Well, the sperm is not a distinct member of a rational kind; it's a part of a rational kind. Just like you are a distinct member of a rational kind, not a part of a rational kind. But we can get into the weeds of, again, identity forever. And if we answer the question of like, what is the totality of what makes someone identical to themselves, we'll solve a lot of problems in philosophy and we'll get a Nobel Peace Prize.
Do I get a taco? No.
If you do that, I'll give you a taco. Yeah.
But okay, that's fine. I'm actually, by the way, I'm actually a pro-life abolitionist as well. I was just seeing your arguments and stuff like that, but I appreciate the conversation nonetheless. So
No problem, bro. God bless.
God bless.
Freaking devil's advocate debates. I hate them. Nice guy, and I don't want to be mean to him, but I don't do devil advocate debates because I actually want to try to change some hearts. But he did show one thing. If you can come up, you can be reasonable. We'll have a reasonable conversation. But when you're all over the place and inconsistent, I'm going to call you out on your nonsense, and then you're going to get kicked and you're going to get upset. It's just how it goes.